Outreach. Hello and good morning, everyone. My name's Amanda, and I'm the Community Outreach Coordinator here at the Missouri Poison Center. Welcome. I believe that spring has sprung here in Missouri. We are starting to see some warmer weather and certainly some of those spring showers coming. And so today we're going to talk about some of the springtime poison hazards that are out there. And as we go through, if you have any questions or want to discuss anything poison related, feel free to drop that in the box, and I will try to get to those either now or after the stream. So if we want to talk about spring, we really should talk about some of the spring flowers. The two that come to mind are ones that I've already seen popping up even weeks ago. The first being daffodils. It's one of the first flowers to pop up and bloom. They can be white, yellow, or orange. They're brightly colored, of course, and often attract young children. If swallowed, they can cause nausea and vomiting. And sometimes what we see is that the bulbs, where the root is, are sometimes mistaken for onions before the flowering part comes on. You can kind of see how that bulb and the green shoots could look like an onion growth, especially in an area you're not familiar with. And if somebody were to eat that, we can have a burning sensation in the mouth and lips and cause, pretty significant nausea and vomiting. Another spring flower are our tulips, and they come in many, many colors, and the bulbs as well can cause some skin irritation. We actually have a term for that, and it's called tulip fingers. So gardeners sometimes complain about this. That leads to red and tender fingertips, but the flower itself is really a non-toxic, but we can see that skin reaction with prolonged contact. We do have a great toxic and non-toxic plant brochure that does talk about these and other plants in Missouri. So that is available on our website, missouripoisoncenter.org. And I'm going to put that banner up so you can take a look at it. And if you go on our website, you can see at the top it says order materials, and that toxic and non-toxic plant brochure will be in the material section. All right, moving away from the pretty flowers that we have, we are seeing mushrooms popping up, whether it is on the playground, in the mulch. Some of the morels are out now for hunting, and people are certainly seeing these pop up with our little bit warmer weather, as well as the moisture we've been having. Mushrooms, of course, are nutritional. They're low in calories. They are high in potassium, fiber, and B vitamins, and they actually contain some high quality proteins. But mushrooms, of course, are a fungus, and they're different from plants as well. And the number of different fungus species or fungi species exceeds 1 million. However, a small amount of fungi actually produce mushrooms. If you want to think about it as the mushroom is actually the fruit produced by fungi, much like a cherry is grown from a cherry tree. And so, of course, there are a wide range of mushrooms out there that some are incredibly toxic and some are actually edible. And it is a very challenging for the general public to kind of make those differences. There are look-alike varieties, and one could be toxic and one could be, edible. And so it is common for people who aren't experienced foragers or mushroom hunters to make those mistakes and often end up with some nausea and vomiting, some, stomach distress. But there are some of our Missouri mushrooms that are incredibly toxic to both the liver and the kidneys. And so just a word of warning, if you are experienced in foraging and mushroom hunting, great. If you are not, it is something you need to educate yourself on really well before you ingest any wild mushrooms. And the last thing about mushrooms is that you need to, again, The point some people often say is cooking a mushroom will make it safe, and that is not necessarily the case. There are mushrooms that the act of cooking actually produces, like the vapor can produce a reaction, and many the toxins do not break down. So again, check your mushrooms, make sure you're identifying properly, you're educating yourself on how to do that. And then for our kiddos, we just want to talk to them about, never to ingest any plants that they're not familiar with, only, from the grocery store or the garden, but nothing in the yard or any other area. So kind of the opposite of what the live things we've been talking about, we're next going to talk about some of the pesticides and herbicides that are out there. Pesticides are pest killers and herbicides are weed killers, and they have different ranges of toxicity and damages, not damages, but symptoms that can occur if an exposure happens. So in general, when using our yard products this spring, we want to make sure we wear a long sleeve shirt, long pants, socks, and shoes. Gloves would be great and ideal. And you want to remove and wash those that clothing after you finish, because often the mist can overspray, or like today, it's a very windy day here in Missouri, and some of that overspray can kind of get onto the clothing. And then the next time you wear it, cause some irritation. You want to stay away from areas that pesticides have been sprayed until it's dried, or at least 1 hour. And that includes before we let our dogs or pets out. We want to make sure that that area is clean and clear. You want to wash off children and pets, especially the pet's nose and paws after they've been in grass that was recently sprayed with chemicals, because you can imagine their nose gets down to the ground and sometimes that residual is there. Whoops, let's get that back up. All right. There we are. And sometimes that residual is there that you need to manage. Additionally, with our pesticides, we want to make sure that when we are using them and diluting them, we are doing it properly. We are following that label directions. We are not making it stronger by adding less water or doing other things to it by adding other ingredients or mixing these products, because some reactions can occur. And in general, the pesticides and the herbicides, the ones for the plants, are generally pretty low risk. Many of these contain things that aren't effective towards humans, but we can often see both coughing and skin irritation and eye exposure from our sprays. All right, next one we're going to talk about is some of our household cleaning products. With spring, we often air out the house and get the spring cleaning started. And many of these products are coming out and being used, and often will maybe even get left out for a child or someone else to get a hold of them. You want to make sure that you keep poisons and cleaning products in the container that they come in. Often people will transfer it to a different container, maybe due to like a large size, into a smaller, more portable size, or to dilute something. They'll put it into a water bottle or a cup, and that is quite dangerous. One, the unsuspecting person could drink that. And two, we don't have the ingredients on the label anymore, or even the product full name, which is a challenge. If you were to need assistance, the Poison Center has to be able to look up the product and kind of determine the risk based on what you have. Also, we do see with cleaning products, sometimes people like to mix them or make sure that they're, really cleaning well. So they'll, not dilute them all the way properly, or they will kind of overuse products. And it's really important to make sure that we are following directions on the label, diluting it properly, letting it, the ventilation in the room being appropriate if necessary. It's always a good idea to have that available, whether it's a fan in the bathroom, a window nearby, just to make sure any of those irritating fumes and even smells can kind of be dissipated through those areas. We often say, especially when it comes to our mixing, bleach is a friend to no one besides water. So bleach is one that we can see chemical reactions with, whether it's mixed with an acid or even something like a vinegar to make it more potent. That is a reaction waiting to happen. And so we really want to make sure, again, that we keep those products and use them appropriately. And then when we're done doing that spring cleaning, we do put them, back, hopefully in a pie out of reach in a locked cabinet away from our children and pets, and not left out or not left low for little hands to grab. So that is really the most important stuff of the spring. There are certainly other hazards that can occur throughout the year, and we are available 24/7 for any and all of those poison-related exposures or questions. Feel free to save the poison helpline in your phone. I really encourage people to do that ahead of time, ahead of something happening, so that they have the phone number when they need it. They can give us a call, again, 24/7. That number is 1-800-222-1222. And a specially trained nurse or pharmacist is available all days of the year, every day, for your questions or exposures. So again, 1-800-222-1222.